let's start here with the principal agent model. So at the top of each of these diagrams that we'll go through is you or me. So this is where I was when Tia was my client care person here on the left of your screen. Chris was my first buyer agent hire. So that was the end of 2009. There was the three of us. These two shaded squares here are additional buyer's agents. So in the 2010 timeframe is pretty much when we had an average of 2 to 3 buyer agents at a given time. And so I was the principal agent. I was still outproducing everyone. I was outproducing Chris 2 to 1. And so that's roughly 2009, 2010 timeframe. So then when we look at team leader, so this is when I'm still involved in production. I'm managing the admin team and I'm managing the sales team. So I had a differentiator between, I never had agents that did both sides. So I always had buyer agents and listing partners. But I managed the sales team. So I didn't have a person in that green box there. And I was also managing the admin team. So we had Tia working on buyer closings, and I had a different person who was no longer with us working on seller management. So I had a couple people that I managed there. I had, we called her client care coordinator at the time. She's now my admin services manager. And I'll show you my org chart here in a second. But this is basically what we ran 2011, was when I hired my first listing specialist. And then I hired another listing specialist in 2012. And the admin team was taking on a little bit more form as we went. Ended 2010 with just Tia. In 2011, we hired the listing manager. We hired inside salesperson, and then we ended up separating out the buyer closing and the listing client care. So that's the team leader model. And then we look at the corporate model. So this is where I am currently. And so Keely is my sales manager and Cherie is my operations manager. So under Cherie, we have a seller client care person. We have a buyer client care person. We don't have an on-staff courier, or we don't even have an on-staff photographer anymore. So there's basically a couple people under the gray box on the left side there on the bottom side. We have a part-time person here that kind of helps out with operations. The sales side, I think we have 4 existing and 3 new buyer agents. So our buyer production this year, over 100 sides, is from 4 agents only. We've got a couple listing partners. One of our buyer's agents, he was half-time. He was our 2.5 listing specialist. So he's now transitioning over to the listing side, plug and play style. And we've got a couple inside salespeople. One is offshore, sort of helping Keely generate seller leads, and one is in our office on the buyer side. So that's what we look like right now. So in 2012, I stepped out of production, hired Cherie for operations manager role, and promoted Keely to sales manager.